Very good morning, students. Today in physics, fifth unit, which is magnetism and electromechanism, we are going to discuss. In this, what are the types of magnet, what are the properties of magnet, what are the uses of magnet, what are the applications of magnet. Here we have that we are going to discuss. Before that, have you ever played with the magnets? Do you wonder why it attracts iron? Magnets are always attractive objects for the humans. In fact, very famous scientist Einstein has mentioned that he was always attracted by magnet in his childhood. You also may have experience in that. In the olden days, magnets were used in the ships. You know what purpose they have used in the ships. Obviously, everybody know. Captains of the ships effectively used the magnets to identify the direction of the ship in the sea. Here we have two kinds of magnets that we can see around us. One is natural magnet and another one is artificial magnet. Here the picture shows natural magnet which is exist in the nature. These kinds of magnets can be found in rocks and sandy deposits in various parts of the world. The strongest natural magnet is a lodestone magnetite. The magnetic property in the natural magnet is permanent. It never gets destroyed. The lodestones were used to make compasses in the olden days. Artificial magnets. Artificial magnets are nothing but which is a man-made magnet. The magnet available in the shops are basically artificial magnets. In this picture, we have different types of magnets: bar magnet, horseshoe magnet, rod magnet, ring magnet, disc magnet, van magnet. These are the magnets are made by man, so it is called artificial magnets. Artificial magnets not only in this shape, it is available in any shape or any size. Any shape and any size. In this lesson, we are going to study about the properties of magnet, which I told you already: a magnetic effect of current, electromagnetic induction, and application of magnets. Here we are going to discuss about magnetic field now. We have one activity here. You can imagine. Put your magnet on the table and place some paper clips nearby. If you push the magnet slowly towards the paper clips, there will be a point at which the paper clips jump across and stick to the magnet. What do you understand from this? From this activity, we notice that magnets have an invisible field all around them, which attracts magnetic materials. In this space, we can feel the force of attraction or repulsion due to the magnet. This is invisible to the eyes, but we can feel the magnetic force. Thus, a magnetic field is the region around the magnet where its magnetic influence can be felt. Simply, magnetic field is denoted by the symbol capital B and its unit is Tesla. The direction of the magnetic field around a magnet can be found by placing a small compass in the magnetic field. Once again, the direction of the magnetic field around a magnet can be found by placing a small compass in the magnetic field. Actually, the magnetic field can penetrate through the all materials, all kinds of materials, not just air. The earth produces its own magnetic field which seals the earth's ozone layer from the solar wind, and it's important for navigation also. Look at the magnet. Here, for finding the magnetic field, we can try at home also. The line which is shown around the magnet are called magnetic lines of force. A magnetic field line is defined as the curve drawn in the magnetic field in such a way that the tangent to the curve at any point gives the direction of the magnetic field. Look at the diagram here. We can see the magnetic lines around the magnet. There is an arrow mark which starts from the North Pole, which means the magnetic lines start at the North Pole and ends at South Pole. The arrow mark indicates the direction of the magnetic field at points N to S. So this activity we can try at home. We can take a bar magnet, place it on the paper and sprinkle the magnetic materials over the magnet, and slightly when you tap the paper, that magnetic fillings will be aligned by itself. It gives this like shape which shows that magnetic lines of force. Here is a picture for you. We can easily understand. I told you already, the magnetic lines will always start from north and merge to the south pole. When you place the magnetic line which shows the direction of the magnetic lines, when you place the magnetic compass near the north pole, it shows the direction of the magnetic lines. It always starts from north and merge to the south. Now we are going to discuss here about magnetic flux. Magnetic flux is the number of magnetic field line passing through the given area. It is denoted by the symbol pi and its unit is Weber. Here it shows the picture shows that magnetic flux. Look at the diagram here. Here there is a red color line, row matter 1 and 2, which shows that magnetic lines. The number of magnetic field lines crossing unit area kept normal to the direction of the field lines is called magnetic flux density. It is shown in the figure. And look at the figure once again. I told you, listen the red color arrow mark here. In the picture 1 and picture 2, which has the greatest magnetic flux? In this diagram, we can see the magnetic flux. Picture 2, the size of the material is small, but there is a 3 magnetic lines around it. So the picture 2 has more magnetic flux. Already I told you what is the magnetic flux. The number of magnetic field lines crossing unit area kept normal to the direction. Here the second diagram has small area. In the small area we have a 3 number of magnetic lines. So the second one has a more magnetic flux. Here we have a properties of magnet. Properties of magnetic lines of force are following. Magnetic lines of force are closed continuous curves extending through the body of the magnet. Magnetic lines of the force start from North Pole and end at the South Pole, which I told you already. Magnetic lines of force never intersect, that is, never cut each other. There will be maximum, the magnetic lines of force, that is, magnetic power will be maximum at the poles than at the equator. The tangent drawn at any point on the curved line, which gives the direction of the magnetic field. Students, I hope you all understood about the properties of magnetic lines and magnetic field lines of force and magnetic flux. Thank you, students.
Very good morning, my dear students. Previous class we have learnt ionic bond. Today we discuss covalent bond. Covalent bond is formed because of the sharing of electrons, which become common to both the atoms. It is also called as atomic bond. We know ionic bond is formed between the atoms of metallic and non-metallic elements. But covalent bond is formed between atoms of non-metallic elements. Let us see some examples. First example, formation of hydrogen molecule. Hydrogen molecule is formed by two hydrogen atoms, because we know in a hydrogen molecule two hydrogen atoms are present. So hydrogen molecule is formed by two hydrogen atoms. Atomic number of hydrogen is 1. That means hydrogen has 1 electron. While forming the molecule, both hydrogen atoms contribute 1 electron each to the shared pair, and both atoms occur stable and completely filled electronic configuration. So, that two hydrogen atoms are sharing their electrons. Next example, formation of chlorine molecule. Chlorine molecule is formed by two chlorine atoms. Each chlorine atom has 7 valence electrons. These two atoms achieve a stable, completely filled electronic configuration by sharing a pair of electrons. Next example, formation of methane. Methane molecule is formed by the combination of 1 carbon and 4 hydrogen atoms. The carbon atom has 4 valence electrons. These 4 valence electrons are shared with 4 atoms of hydrogen to achieve a stable electronic configuration. This is a formation of methane molecule. So that 4 valence electrons from carbon sharing with hydrogen valence electron. Next we discuss the types of covalent bond. Covalent bonds are of 3 types: single covalent bond, double covalent bond and triple covalent bond. Single covalent bond represented by a single line between two atoms. Double covalent bond represented by a double line between the atoms. Triple covalent bond represented by a triple line between two atoms. So students, what are the types of covalent bond? Single covalent bond, double covalent bond and triple covalent bond. Next we move on the properties of covalent compounds. Normally, covalent compounds exist in gaseous state, liquid and solid form. For example, oxygen, it exists in gaseous form, water, liquid nature and diamond, solid in nature. Depending on force of attraction between covalent molecule, the bond may be weaker or stronger. Thus, covalent compounds exist in gaseous, liquid and solid form. Next property, electrical conductivity. Covalent compounds do not contain charged particles, that means ions. So, they are bad conductors of electricity. Next, melting point and boiling points. Except diamond and silicon carbide, remaining covalent compounds have relatively low melting points compared to ionic compound. Because we know ionic compounds having high melting and boiling points. But compared to ionic compound, covalent compounds have relatively low melting points except diamond and silicon carbide. Next, solubility. Covalent compounds are readily soluble in nonpolar solvents like benzene, carbon tetrachloride. They are insoluble in polar solvents like water. Insoluble, that means not soluble in polar solvents like water. And students, what is meant by non-polar solvents? That solvents does not containing charged particle. That means absence of charge, which makes these molecules non-polar. Polar solvents means that solvents containing charged particles. That means that positive and negative charged particles. Because we know water, you can split hydrogen H plus ion and OH minus ion, hydroxide ion. So it containing charged particles H plus and OH minus. So charged particles means that is polar solvents does not, that means absence of charged particles, that solvents are called non-polar solvents. So covalent compounds are readily soluble in non-polar solvents but insoluble in polar solvents. We know ionic compounds are crystalline in nature, but covalent compounds are soft and waxy in nature. Okay students, so these are the some general characteristics of covalent compounds. Okay students, so today we discussed covalent bond and formation of covalent bond, and we discussed three examples: formation of hydrogen, formation of chlorine, and formation of methane, and three types of covalent bond: single covalent bond, double covalent bond, and triple covalent bond, and some characteristics of covalent compounds. Next class we will discuss Fagens's rule. Thank you students.